Hello students. Today we will discuss the third unit of nutrition, that is the fats. Fats are the best known members of a chemical group called lipids. Lipids are the fats and oils which are naturally present. The term lipid is applied to a group of naturally occurring substances, those substances which are characterized by insolubility in water, greasy feel, and solubility in organic solvents like ether, chloroform, benzene, or other fat solvents. The term lipid was first used by the German biochemist named Blur in 1943. For example, oils, they are insoluble in water. Oil is the one form of lipid or fats, okay, which has greasy feel but which can be soluble in some organic solvents. In normal human subjects, fat constitute between 10 to 15% of body weight. Most of the body fat, that is 99% of body fat, is stored in the adipose tissues. Fat present in the diet or in human body are in the form of fatty acids, triglycerides, phospholipids, and cholesterol. Each fat molecule is made up of four compounds. The four compounds are of one alcohol and three of fatty acids. So each fat molecule is composed of the four molecules, that is of alcohol and fatty acids. Next we will see the classification of fats. The fats are mainly classified into two ways. First, based on the biochemical composition, and second one is based on nutritional significance. Based on biochemical composition, lipids are classified into three major classes, that is simple lipids, compound lipids, and derived lipids. First we will see simple lipids. Simple lipids are esters of fatty acids with alcohol. They do not contain any conjugate groups. Simple lipids are the esters. Esters means the chemical compound. Okay, so simple lipids are the chemical compound of fatty acids and alcohol. When the hydrolysis occurs on the fatty acids with alcohol, the esters or whichever chemical compound forms, that compound is known as the simple lipids, which do not contain any other groups. They are of two types, fats or oils and waxes. Fats are the esters of fatty acids with glycerol, and waxes, they are the ester of fatty acids with higher alcohols. Another group is the compound lipids. They contain conjugate groups in addition to fatty acids and alcohols. Means they are fats in which at least one fatty acid will be replaced by carbohydrate, protein, or phosphorus. That is, the compound lipid will have one fat molecule with another non-fat molecule. For example, phospholipid, glycolipid, or lipoprotein. Here, one fat molecule and another one will be non-fat molecule present in that compound. For example, in the phospholipid, there is a presence of phosphorus with lipid. Phosphorus is the non-fat molecule and lipids is the fat molecule. Okay. same like glycolipids and sulfolipids. Third one is the derived lipids. These are the products of precursors of simple and compound lipids. They are the breakdown product of fats and includes diglyceride, monoglyceride, glycerol and fatty acids. For example, fatty acid, cholesterol, steroid hormones, fatty alcohols, ketone prostaglandins, etc. Derived lipids will formed after the breakdown of fats or compound lipids. Another classification of lipids is based on the nutritional significance. Fatty acids are divided into two groups based on the nature of hydrocarbon chain, that is saturated fatty acids and unsaturated fatty acids. Saturated fatty acids. The saturated fatty acids are those which do not have any double bond in their hydrocarbon chain. For example, acetic acid, butyric acid, etc. Another one is the unsaturated fatty acids, where the unsaturated fatty acids will have double bonds in their hydrocarbon chain. If we are considering the bond between the hydrogen and carbon, there will be double bond in unsaturated fatty acids, and there will be absence of double bond in the hydrocarbon chain in case of the saturated fatty acids. Unsaturated fatty acids, where there will be double bond in between the hydrocarbon chain, they are subdivided into two types, and that is based on the number of double bonds, that is the frequency of double bond. First one is the monounsaturated fatty acids, and second one is the polyunsaturated fatty acids. Monounsaturated fatty acids. Mono means single. So here only one double bond will be present in the structure. For example, palmitoleic acid, oleic acid, palmitoleic acid, oleic acid. Another group is polyunsaturated fatty acid, where it will contain more than one double bond in their structure. Poly means more than one. So here there will be more double bonds in the chemical structure. For example, linoleic acid, which contains two double bond, linolenic acid, which contains three double bond, arachidonic acid, which contains four double bond, timnodonic acid, which contains 5 double bond, and carbonic acid, which contains 6 double bond. So here the number of, or the frequency of double bond will be more than one. That's why they are called as the polyunsaturated fatty acids. And opposite to this, in the monounsaturated fatty acids, the structures or compound which contains only a single double bond, they are known as the monounsaturated fatty acids. Sources of dietary fats or lipids. The dietary sources of fats may be classified as the animal fats, plant fats, and the other sources. Fats of animal origin. These are ghee, butter, milk, cheese, egg, and fat of meat and fish. Animal fats are poor sources of essential fatty acids, with exception of marine fish oil, such as cod liver oil and sardine oil, but they are a good source of retinol. Another one is the fats of plant origin. They includes groundnut oil, coconut oil, palm oil, mustard oil, canola oil, sesame oil, and corn oil. Mostly all plant oils, they are rich sources of essential fatty acids. Essential fatty acids are those that cannot be synthesized by humans, but they can be derived only from food. The most important essential fatty acids are linoleic acid and arachidonic acids, which serves as a basis for production of other essential fatty acids. So, these essential fatty acids we have to get from the food, and the sources for that essential fatty acid, the rich source is the fats of the plant origin. The sources are groundnut oil, coconut oil, etc. And the other sources of dietary fats are cereals, pulses, oil seeds, rice bran, and green leafy vegetables. Small quantities of invisible fats, they are found in most foods such as the cereals, pulses, nuts, and vegetables. So, these are the dietary sources of the fats. Calorific value of lipids. The calorific value of fats or lipid is the 9 kilocalories per gram. That is, when 1 gram of fat is oxidized in the body, it gives 9 kilocalories. That is the energy value or calorific value of the fats. Then daily requirement, that is the recommended dietary allowances of the fats or lipids. It is recommended that lipids provide about 20% of the total daily energy requirement of the body. So, recommended dietary allowances for the lipids for adult is about 0.8 gram per kg body weight per day. It means for the person of body weight of 60 kilogram will need 40 to 50 grams of fat. A minimum requirement of 25 to 30 gram of lipids is essential to meet the requirement of essential fatty acids and utilization of fat soluble vitamins. Cholesterol also forms a part of balanced diet. Cholesterol also counts under the lipids. So, the diet should contain less than 300 mg of cholesterol. There should not be excess of cholesterol in the diet which will cause heart diseases. So, The cholesterol will be needed less than 300 mg into the diet. Phospholipids are not essential in diet as they are synthesized in the body. Next we will see the functions of lipid. First is the biological role of the fats, provision of energy. Fats are the concentrated form of energy where 1 gram of fat gives 9 kilocalories. So it is the concentrated source of the energy which gives us the energy. Then storage of energy. The stored fat in the adipose tissues are the largest and efficient energy reserve than the glycogen. Glycogen storage accompanies water, so it takes more space than fats which does not accompany water. Glycogen storage capacity is limited, but fat storage capacity is virtually unlimited. Glycogen stores last for only half a day, but fat reserve can last up to 2 months. So, here the storage of fat will be at large scale as compared to the glycogen, and it will reserve more energy. Then heat insulator. The fat stored subcutaneously, that is in the uh, layer of skin, that is in the subcutaneous layer, will serve as an insulator against heat loss to the environment. Also it will protect against the cold. So in case of heat loss or cold, the fat which are stored in the subcutaneous layer, they will protect us from the heat loss, or they will protect us from the cold. Then shock absorber. The subcutaneous fat deposits also insulate against the mechanical trauma, that is it will act as a shock absorber in case of any trauma. Fat deposits around the internal organ will insulate and cushion them and protect them from mechanical injury. Other functions of fats are essential for the transportation and absorption of fat soluble vitamins such as A, D, E, and K. Also, the fat is necessary for the absorption of vitamin A and its precursor carotene. Then the satiety function of the fats. Fat improves the palatability of the diet, that it gives taste and it helps in the easy digestion. It slows the digestion resulting in the satiety. Satiety, it is the sense of fullness and satisfaction after eating. In the absence of fats, the food becomes non-palatable, means there will be no satiety value or there will be indigestion of fats. Fats provide essential fatty acids which the body can't manufacture or body cannot synthesize. Fats are the constituent of the cell membrane and regulates the membrane permeability. Fats are also function as the regular metabolic regulators in the form of prostaglandins and steroid hormones. At the time of starvation, stored fat will be used for energy, padding of the fatty tissue, supports and protects vital organs such as the heart and kidney. The fat layer below the skin plays an important role in maintaining body temperature. These are the functions of fats. Next we will see the digestion, absorption, storage and metabolism of lipids. So here we will see the digestion of lipids. More than 90% of the dietary lipids are fats and oils. Lipids are insoluble in water and lipid digesting enzymes are in water medium. This problem is overcome by emulsification of fats by bile salts in the intestine. Fats are not digested in the stomach. The presence of fats in the diet delays the emptying of food from the stomach. Fats are hydrolyzed by the pancreatic and intestinal lipase in the intestine. So, the digestion of the fats in the stomach is very minimum, where the lingual and gastric lipase will initiate the lipid digestion by hydrolyzing the triglycerides to form mainly 1,2 diglycerides and some free fatty acids. Here we will discuss the 5 different phases by which the digestion of fat will occur. First, that is the hydrolysis of triglycerides to free fatty acids and acylglycerols. Here, with the help of hydrolysis, the triglyceride will be converted into free fatty acids and in the monoacyclic glycerol. Second phase is the solubilization of essential fatty acids and monoacylglycerol by the detergents like bile acids and the transportation from the intestinal lumen towards the cell surface. Third one will be the uptake of essential fatty acids and monoacylglycerol into the cell and resynthesis to triglyceride, then packaging of triglycerides into chylomicrons, and fifth one is the exocytosis of chylomicrons into lymph. This is the flow of digestion of fats, where you can see first one is the fat globule, that is the lipid. Then the lipid will be combined with the bile salts, which will be the emulsion droplets, and they will goes for the digestion by the lipase, where this process will all occur in the intestinal lumen, and the from that droplet they will convert into the free fatty acids, that is the monoglycerides, and again they will combine with the bile salts and they will become micelles, which will enter into the cell, where the proteins and triglyceride will be separated from that micelles, and again they will convert into the chylomicrons, and these chylomicrons will be forwarded or transported into the lymph. So this is the digestion of fat which will be occur into the intestinal lumen, epithelial cell layer, and then into the lacteal, that is into the lymph. As the digestion occurs, absorption will continue. The water-soluble products of lipid digestion like glycerol as well as small and medium chain fatty acids will be directly absorbed from the intestinal lumen into the portal vein and taken to the liver and immediately utilization for the energy. Lipids which are digested from the intestine, they will um, transport into the portal vein. Through the portal vein they will transport to the liver, and in the liver metabolism will occur and the energy will be formed from those lipids and it will be utilized by the body as the energy. The water soluble products like 2 acylglycerol, long chain fatty acids and cholesterol, phospholipids and lysophospholipids are incorporated into bile salt micelles and absorbed into the intestinal cells. Next is the metabolism of fats, that is the lipolysis. Lysis is the breakdown process. So this is the breakdown of lipids. Fatty acids are rich sources of energy. Triglycerols are the storage form of fatty acids which are stored in adipose tissues. During the conditions of restricted diet like starvation or in the diabetes mellitus, the stored triglycerides are broken down to glycerol and fatty acids by the lipase. This process is called as the lipolysis. Fatty acid utilization. Fatty acids released from adipose tissue are transported to tissues such as skeletal tissue, heart muscle, renal cortex, which utilize fatty acids as a source of energy by the beta oxidation. Then, storage of fats. When the excess of glucose or fats are consumed in the diet, the surplus energy is first converted into the glycogen and then to the fatty acids. Fatty acids are then stored in the form of triacylglycerols in the adipose tissues, that is under the skin. Last point is the deficiency and overconsumption. Deficiencies of the lipids. The deficiency of dietary lipid is very rare because they are widely distributed in foods. Deficiency of essential fatty acids and fat soluble vitamins may include the infant consuming low fat diet including anorexia nervosa, that is the absence of appetite where the child will not feel like hungry, patient receiving lipid free parenteral nutrition for long period, and malabsorption syndrome. These are some risk factors where there will be a deficiency of essential fatty acids. Malabsorption syndrome, that is where the intestine will not be capable to absorb the fatty acids, that will lead to the non-transportation of essential fatty acids to the liver, and then there will be no formation of triglycerides or other essential fatty acids in the body. Then overconsumption. Overconsumption of fat is associated with increased risk of certain chronic diseases like obesity, heart disease, certain types of cancer. Obesity will result from the chronic imbalance between the energy intake and the energy expenditure. If the energy intake is more than the energy expenditure, then the excessive energy will be stored in the body in the form of fats in under the skin, so it will eventually lead to the obesity. Then coronary heart diseases, that is the development of atherosclerosis and coronary heart diseases. Atherosclerosis, it is the plaque formation into the blood vessels which supplies to the heart. Dietary cholesterol increases the total and low density lipoprotein cholesterol. Then polyunsaturated fatty acids will lower the level of total and low density lipoprotein cholesterol, and hence they are beneficial. There will be a beneficial effect on the chronic or coronary heart diseases. Then cancer. High fat diet increases the risk of colon cancer and breast cancer. They may promote or not cancer, but sometimes they will be like a risk factor for causing cancer. I am summarizing today's topic. That first we have discussed the introduction, then classification of fats, that is based on the biochemical composition and based on the nutritional significance. Based on the biochemical composition, they are classified as the simple lipid, compound lipid and derived lipid. Then according to nutritional significance, they are classified as the saturated fatty acid and unsaturated fatty acid. Again, unsaturated fatty acids are classified as the monounsaturated fatty acids and polyunsaturated fatty acids. Then functions of fats. Then calorific value of fats and daily requirement of fats. Then digestion, absorption and storage and metabolism of lipids. Digestion, absorption, metabolism and storage. And lastly, deficiencies and overconsumption of fats or lipids. Thank you.